everybody. Everybody is looking pretty in pink. That also includes the men. I really didn't want to go first, but then they threatened me with the pink slip. And they said they'd kick me out, so here I am going first. Growing up in Bangalore, we all shared a collective experience where the presence of trees profoundly shaped the way we perceived the city. Nature actively redefined the urban landscape and didn't merely coexist with it. The canopies of foliage acted as a natural filter, punctuating the city with moments of green that softened the harshness of urban life. Trees, with their leaves and branches, served as both physical and metaphorical filters, slowing the pace of the city, blurring its edges, and offering pockets of stillness and reflection amidst the noise and chaos. Can architectural interventions play a similar role? Could buildings and public spaces, like trees, act as lenses and filters that challenge the city's perceived solidity? What if they could dissolve the rigidity of urban life, suggesting that the city is not a static, impenetrable entity, but a porous, ever-evolving environment? Over the years, we've been exploring the concept of porosity in various projects. Through porosity as a metaphor of being a lens and a filter, urban and natural environments become dynamic, interconnected spaces where boundaries shift and evolve, opening up new possibilities of perception, interaction, and transformation. The Naturopathy Center for Therapy and Wellness and Healing is built within the city on a tight urban site at a busy and noisy polluted node. The presence of the cannonball tree prompted us to conceive a plan that weaves around the tree, not just physically, but also phenomenally, where the tree is an integral part of the building's experience. The building is wrapped with a porous layer of green and a jali that sieves the outside environment. The synthesis of the jali and the layers of green as a cohesive, living, porous membrane acts like a filter. This porosity distills the harsh atmosphere outside and allows for dappled light to seep in. Soft light and the presence of medicinal plants enables a conducive environment for healing. The Dialysis Centre is built adjacent to a traditional South Indian temple. We were cognizant of the fact that patients would walk past the temple before they get treated at the center. Dialysis patients not only rely on science and medicine, but also on hope and faith as they spend time going through an arduous, repetitive procedure as treatment. The building's skin acts as a mute backdrop to the intricately detailed temples outside and as a sensual filter, allowing light to bleed through on the inside. The facade is sculpted to seek the ethereal and spiritual qualities of light. The poetic architectural embodiment of light makes it as divine as the temple outside. The Java Rain Resort is situated in a coffee estate at the foothills of Mulayangiri Hills, overlooking the valley beyond with the Chikmagalur town and lake. The site is both replete with foliage from coffee plants and canopies of tall trees with panoramic views of the mountains beyond. Here, the porosity of architecture is a lens to the landscape, a lens that captures landscape that is distinct, proximal, and intimate. There are distinct relationships between various buildings and surrounding landscapes created by redefining the boundaries between them. The organic shape of the clubhouse roof frames views of the distant mountains in multiple directions while carving out a womb-like space for the occupants. The cottages with the butterfly roof and extended plinth melts into the proximal landscape. The introverted presidential villas are articulated around internal courtyards, forming intimate relationships with water bodies and gardens. In our residences, rather than considering the boundary as a hard edge, we conceive porous thresholds where the inside and the outside meet. Furthermore, we imagined a thickening of this edge, pregnant with abstract, ambiguous spaces that are simultaneously both inside and outside. Boundaries are blurred, creating interconnected open living environments across dynamic thresholds. Articulated and permeable building envelopes allow light, air, and nature to filter through, while the courtyards and decks extend living areas into the landscape. The formal and spatial porosity enables a living and haptic relationship between architecture, nature, and the people inhabiting the space. The library site within the SMVIT campus is an important node in the master plan. Flanked by an arterial road, the site connects the hostel buildings on one side of the road to the academic buildings housed on the other. The master plan envisions a central plaza for the entire university adjacent to the library site. As we know, the book reading culture is in crisis. How can the library keep it alive and thriving? How can the library be a place of culture, a social incubator for students? How can we deinstitutionalize the library for it to have a more porous relationship with the campus and its students to enable a hub for learning, interactions, and congregations? We conceived a library to be porous at multiple levels to the movement and occupancy of students. While the requirements of the library is this as a space of prescription, the unprogrammed flexible spaces are the spaces of engagement, spaces that are democratic and celebrate freedom. The otherwise linear path connecting the hostels to the academic blocks across the plaza is imagined as a rich, multi-layered connection with the manipulation of the ground plane. The manipulated ground plane in the form of ramps and plazas have programs tucked underneath them, such as exhibition spaces, co-working spaces, and cafes, thereby democratizing the space. Students can now choose between multiple paths that weave through the building, engaging in various activities. The status of the ground as a two-dimensional, inanimate plane is a cliche. The ground to us is not just a two-dimensional plane, but a malleable urban fabric that can be draped, structured, and tethered. The blurring of figure in ground as figured ground enables a porous synthesis of architecture, landscape, and people. Cliches to us represent accepted norms, unchallenged assumptions, or outdated beliefs. When accepted at face value, cliches can limit creativity, reinforce social stagnation, and discourage critical thought. Alternatively, revolution in thought, design, or society begins with questioning cliches, dismantling them to seek deeper truths, question authority, unearth fresh perspectives, to push boundaries that have been taken for granted. Thank you, and I'd like to leave you guys with a video.